Welcome to NBA Today, presented by ESPN Bet. Kendrick, Perkins, Chiney Ogwumike, Brian Windhorst. And how lucky are we? The legend, Michael Wilbon, joining us on set in the daylight hours. It's always good to have you here.
You didn't get tired enough of us last night, particularly of Perk and me? You didn't get tired of us?
It is not possible to get tired of you.
It's
hard to get tired of
we have Mr. Wilbon here because there are drastic changes impacting dynasties across all sports, across the sports landscape. We have Bill Belichick out in New England after winning 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots. We have Nick Saban retiring after 7 championships, over 17 years of dominance at Alabama. And then the team that has come the closest to consistently mirroring that level of excellence in the NBA, it has to be the Golden State Warriors, right? But we may be nearing a state of emergency in Golden State, Chiney. So last night, the Warriors hosting the Pelicans. This ended a 7-game homestand for them. Draymond Green back with the team, not on the floor yet. It got ugly so fast.
It did. For so long, the Warriors have been raining threes at home. Now they're getting a taste of what that was like for their opponents because they're doing that to them. And you see Draymond quickly making his impact felt, but I don't know how much help.
No one's listening.
I know. The vibes were a little awkward.
Zion Williamson sticking with it, getting that to go.
But I want y'all to notice, look at the effort on the 50-50 balls. Look at no one closing out to the three-point shooting. No one's boxing out for the Golden State Warriors. The Pelicans did whatever they wanted to do.
The Pelicans had 9 threes in the first quarter alone. 9. Look at that. Outscored 46-27 in the first quarter. That's the most allowed in any quarter by them this season. And they just couldn't stop the bleeding today.
Yeah, they couldn't. And the reality is the entire Pelicans starting 5, they were hungry. They were out for blood. All of them in double figures, 8 on the night for the Pels. That means the Warriors couldn't stop anybody.
Well, and they were booed again on their home floor. Here's what Clay thought.
You guys have been booed each of the last 2 home games. Obviously, you're not used to that. How do you handle that?
Are you supposed to lose sleep over it?
Well, maybe not lose sleep, but
I would.
a little bit.
Yes.
Zion Williamson goes strong to the cup. I mean, at this point, flexing on him just for a little extra measure. They win big. 141-105 is the final score in this one. I'm not a professional lip reader, but that looks like frustration to me from Steph Curry. The Warriors, they have seen better days, and last night it was actually a first in the Steph Curry era here, Wilbon. The 36-point loss was their largest home loss by the Warriors since Curry was drafted by the franchise. Now, Steph and Steve Kerr, they shared their thoughts on the state of the Dubs after the game.
I mean, we have a standard that's pretty evident that if things stay the same, you know, that's a definition of insanity, right? Keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So
I think we're just lacking confidence right now. You get to a stage sometimes where you just kind of lose your belief, and it happens. And that's what's happened right now with our team the last few days. I think we've just lost the spirit, the confidence that has to carry you, against talented teams night in and night out.
That was a pretty blunt assessment from 2 pillars of this franchise.
I was shocked.
Lost confidence?
Yeah.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. No, they got blitzed. It's like watching the beginning of a fight. When you think they're equals in the ring and somebody storms across the ring and starts throwing haymakers. New Orleans came out knowing that the Warriors don't have any confidence, knowing they're not playing well. Did you see the difference in passion level? That last night, 3 of us were here, and we were stunned. Yeah, Perk predicted. He thought the Warriors were going to lose this game all along. But as we sat watching it unfold, I mean, they're not watching it. They're feeling it unfold. And so that's what Steph Curry is referring to in the reaction that you see after the game. But the Pelicans walked across the ring and went sort of Mike Tyson on Michael Spinks. That's what that was. And to see the Warriors get hit like that at home, they are dazed right now. And so who knows how they get out of it. They're taking a standing 8 count right now, if I continue that analogy.
Yeah, so this is the end of a very disappointing homestand. This is a 7-game homestand in which you thought that they may be able to get on a good momentum. They go 2-5 on it. They didn't even lead at all in the last 2 home games.
Nope, wire to
The disappointing thing, as you mentioned, Wilbon, the way they came out in this game to give up 47 points in the first quarter. I know people are taking Steph's comments and then implying that there needs to be like maybe big changes to the roster. I don't think that's what he was talking about. I think he was talking about their demeanor. Perk and I have been, here he goes again.
Why are you
Perk and I have been on different paths here. I'm just going to say this right now. I don't think there's no trade that you're going to make. There's no defensive strategy that you're going to change. There's no lineup change that you're going to make that is going to all of a sudden change the entire fortunes of the team. The only way the Warriors are going to get back to competing at the high level is by getting their core players back to playing their best. And by the way, while Steph is frustrated and saying things need to change, he's one of them. If you look at his stats over the last 15 games, he's in a slump.
But isn't Draymond part of that?
Of
Doesn't
course.
he make
but
that easier, so much easier on Steph?
Malika, of course you're right. Steph has been in a slump. It's not like a historic slump.
Right.
He's had worse stretches, but even he has not been at his best. And so I don't think, I'm getting the sense, I already know what Perk's going to say. He's going to say it's over, blow it up. I don't think that's an option. I agree it's not going well, but their only option, only feasible option is to rediscover what they've already got on their roster.
Ask yourself why Steph Curry has been in the slump, or why Steve Kerr has said this team has lost their spirit. They lost their confidence, right? Steve Kerr is getting exposed. We saw the Pelicans, they were ready to play. We saw the Pelicans going for the 50-50 balls. We saw the Pelicans contesting jump shots. We saw Toronto go in a couple nights before and put up 133 on them. 133 in Chase Arena.
So what are you suggesting?
So here's the thing, right? The spirit comes from the coach, right? The spirit comes from the coach. Look, stay with me. As a guy that's been in the locker room, went to 5 NBA finals, I know the spirit, the energy comes from what your coach is saying at practices and in the film room. It's almost like when you go to First Street Baptist Church. You going in there to feel the Holy Ghost. If you walk out of there and you got the spirit in you, damn it, the pastor did his job. It's the same thing when it comes down to the Warriors. They're playing with a lack of effort. They're playing with a lack of urgency right now. No fight whatsoever. That is a reflection of your coach.
But Perk, you're only talking about 50% of it because Steve Kerr is a players coach. He cedes some power to his players, and what the Warriors are missing right now is Draymond Green. And we're asking, why is Steph struggling? It's because Draymond Green is not out there. And we even have a graphic that sort of tells you the tale of the last 30 or so games. The first, 15 games ahead of this suspension, Steph was averaging around 30. Without Draymond, he's dipped down to like 20, 23. If you look at the numbers,
he needs.
Look at these numbers. First 20 games of the season, 30 on 43% shooting from three. Last 15 games, which is circle around missing Draymond. His numbers have gone down. Look at the 23 points per game. We're seeing some uncharacteristic performances from Steph. It's not just Steve Kerr. It's the fact that Draymond Green is not out there because Draymond, if I'm looking at, I know you want to talk, Perk, about like blowing certain aspects of their
That's not what I want to say right now.
No, I'm just saying, I know you have explored blowing up some aspects of their roster.
I still feel the same.
I think that Draymond Green's value is higher with the Warriors than it possibly would be with any other team, and Steph's value is higher alongside Draymond if you just look at the numbers.
I'm holding my head because of this, okay? Steph Curry is already a top 10 player, one of the top 10 greatest players of all time. We cannot sit up here on air and tie Draymond Green to Steph Curry and saying that Draymond Green brings out the greatness of Steph Curry. Steph Curry is who he is.
But their identity was created by strength in numbers, right? It was created
that was for us them winning titles. On an individual basis, we cannot sit up here and give an excuse to Steph Curry and say that he's, because Draymond is out, then he's not able to be the best version of himself. Well, if that's the case, then let's take him out of the conversation with the all-time greats if Draymond got to be a part of that. LeBron don't need nobody else to come and elevate him in his greatness.
The Steph greatness has been built with Draymond as a supporting factor. Draymond has been there and been a big factor in it. And look, and there are other times in the Warriors' history, and other times when they've been playing in different different situations, where maybe that they could have survived without that. With where they're at now, where some of their other players are struggling, they need Steph to be at his best. Steph has regressed, and it's directly tied to when Draymond left the line.
Look, you know, for about 20 years on this network, I've been involved in debates and back and forth, and I love this. And you're both persuasive. And I'm not sure where I fall in this, because I walked out of this building last night believing exactly what Perk believes. Shanae has moved me back to the center a little bit. Let me just say this. We got to spin this forward, because no matter what the answer is, by the way, it's a great discussion. The Warriors are in a position where I will side with Perk on this. They can't save this season. So the question is, as they involve Steph Curry in the larger discussion, what do we do now? What do we do as we approach the trade deadline? Do we start to play for next year now? Because they're not leapfrogging all these teams. And I've moved back again towards some of this overnight after watching this. Last night, combined with the Toronto game, it's a stunner that the Warriors got knocked out like they did. So they're going to have to sit Mike Dunleavy, Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, and others. Draymond's going to be involved. What do we do? What do we do about this? Because they're not even playing good right now. So
I don't think there's a trade. I don't think there's a trade
to be made at all, Brian.
I mean, they could make a trade to make a trade. I don't think one exists because their player's value is too low.
So Andrew Wiggins would be the player we're looking at, right? To be clear,
Malika, his value is too low.
Sure.
Steph Curry, Chris Paul, you could trade, but they've got a $400 million payroll. One of the reasons they got him was to get the Jordan Poole salary out for their books. I honestly think, and I know that this is maybe Perk, we could get to April and Perk could stay up here and say, I was right in January, you didn't listen.
That's not what I want to do. That's not my end goal.
But I'm saying, I think you got to drive it till the wheels come off. And if you get to the end of the season and you say, look, it didn't happen.
They're on the side of the road. They're on the right side of the road right now.
The car already is shaking already.
Yeah.
I think
I've been around too long. I've seen teams recover from January to April. It may not happen, but I think that's the only way to go.
Well, let me put you back to the test. Do you see the Warriors making any noise in the Western Conference? Simple, yes or no?
Not really.
Oh, not really.
But
they are bringing Draymond back, so you got to see what happens.
No, but that's the thing. I think the Warriors are having right now an existential crisis.
Yes,
and the question is, who stays with us for maximizing Steph Curry's talents and his championship window?
Okay, so if that's the question, and Shanae, I agree with you 100%. That's the question. On the table right now for them, when do we start to address the fix? Do we do that before the trade deadline? Even, Brian, if those assets are devalued. Do we wait till the offseason? What do we do right now? Do we punt on this season? And what does that look like? And what does that mean?
The answer to that, the only person who can answer that question is Steph Curry. He is the only person who can sign off and say, you know what, yes, I am playing as well as I did to start the season, because he was playing lights out to start the season. He started the season, and all of us were talking about, we didn't really love the fit of Chris Paul. We were a little bit unsure about this. Andrew Wiggins, he missed a lot of time. I hope everything's okay last season. But maybe because he is playing at this level, it'll all be okay.
You know, looks the
and
smartest.
When that came
Bob Myers.
He does.
Getting out of there.
Right.
Bob for getting out when he did.
Wilbon, what were we sitting around here talking about last night? And I don't want to ask this question, but I know that it is the deepest fear that everyone in the Bay Area has, right?
Yeah.
Is Steph's going to be okay with this, right? He's not going to start looking to see.
We did. It was a great conversation to have late at night when they're down by 40. But okay, so I think we all believe, and Perk, we were right here talking about this, the three of us. I can't see Steph doing what we're seeing in the NBA for the last 3 or 4 years, which is saying, I've had enough, I want out. His life is tied.
Because he is Golden State.
He is.
He is the Bay Area.
He's the war piece.
So what's the next move?
Brian?
They bring Draymond Green back, and you try to stitch it back together.
And what version of Draymond are you going to get?
I don't know, Perk, but that's the best option.
And
they don't have other options.
It's a business where his value is tied so much greater within the Golden State organization than probably even other teams suiting.
Should I stop right there? That's great. Wait, hold that point. So, is there a team out there that could bite on that? Detroit, hometown. Is there somebody that could say Draymond can be maybe? Nope.
How big is that contract?
He's not going to have the value anywhere he has at Warriors. You're right.
How big is that contract?
Is there a market for Draymond?
Is it untradeable, Brian?
No, of course. He can be traded. I can think of multiple teams who want to trade for him, but it's not something that you can do in February. You're not fixing this mid-stretch. The only way you're fixing this is by getting back to the way they were playing at the start of the season.
So we call it a wash for the Warriors.
Well, the Warriors, they are not the only
You
team.
can't call anything in January a wash.
Well, and also, you can't. I am firmly in the camp of not shoveling dirt on a dynasty before the final embers of it have burned to
That's hard.
the ground. We're not there yet. The car may be shaken, but we are not there yet.
How they wear, I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.